Most of our life feels like a race against a clock that never stops. But what if I told you that every night, your own mind proves this race is an illusion? You've had a dream that felt like a week of adventure, only to find that 5 minutes have passed. Science is beginning to understand why, and the answer is not what you expect. This is not about abstract theory. It's about using this nightly secret to break the tyranny of time in your waking life, turning stress and anxiety into a feeling of expansive peace. If you could press the pause button on the world, what would you do with that moment? Stay with me and discover that you already have this power. Our perception of reality operates much like an old film strip, playing out one frame at a time in a strict, unchangeable sequence. The past is simply the part of the real that has already run through the projector's light. The future is the portion of the film that remains coiled in darkness, waiting its turn. This linear, frame-by-frame experience is our mind's factory setting. It is a deeply ingrained mode of operation, incredibly useful for navigating the physical world, for planning, and for survival. It allows us to build, to learn from cause and effect, and to create a coherent story of our lives. But this factory setting comes with a profound hidden cost. It creates what could be called the psychology of the film strip. Living this way, we are perpetually trapped. We feel anxiety about the future scenes we cannot yet see, constantly trying to predict and control them. And we carry the heavy weight of the past scenes we cannot change, replaying them in our minds, burdened by regret or lost in nostalgia. We are pinned to the forward march of the frames. This is the source of so much of our quiet desperation, the feeling of being rushed, of life slipping through our fingers. We feel as though we are only ever experiencing the briefest of moments before it, too, becomes a ghost on the reel behind us. Science has even given this sliver of awareness a name, the psychological present. Studies confirm that our active window of conscious experience, the space we truly feel present in, lasts only about 2 to 3 seconds. Everything else is either a reconstruction of memory or an anticipation of what is to come. We are living our entire lives inside this fleeting, 3-second-long frame of light. And this reveals a profound question. If our conscious life is lived in this tiny window, what is the rest of the film? And more importantly, who or what is the one watching it? This brings us to the edge of our understanding. For if we are more than just the character in this single frame, then there must be a state of being where we can step out of the sequence, a place where we can enter the editing room and see more of the story at once. This place is not a fantasy. It is a state of consciousness you enter every single night. We all feel it, the sense that time behaves differently when we dream. The logical assumption would be that our internal clock, the very rhythm of our brain, simply slows down. But when scientists decided to test this simple assumption, they uncovered a profound paradox that points to a much deeper truth about consciousness. In fascinating studies on lucid dreaming, researchers gave sleeping participants a simple task. While aware that they were inside a dream, they were to perform a specific action, like counting to 30 or doing a sequence of simple physical movements, and then signal to the researchers from within the dream the moment they were finished. The results were astonishing, and they defied all expectation. The time it took for the lucid dreamers to complete these tasks inside their dream world was almost identical to the time it would take them to do the same task in waking life. This presents a genuine mystery. If the brain's fundamental clock isn't actually running slower, how can 5 minutes of real time possibly contain what feels like a lifetime of experience? If time isn't stretching, what is? The answer lies in a shift of perspective, away from the duration of time and towards the density of experience. It's not that time slows down in a dream. It's that your consciousness, freed from its waking duties, becomes capable of processing a vastly greater amount of information and events in the same amount of time. Think of it this way. Your waking consciousness is like an internet connection that is constantly running multiple heavy programs at once. It has to process an endless stream of sensory data: sight, sound, touch, temperature, and it has to manage your physical body and navigate the laws of physics. This processing power is immense, but it leaves little bandwidth for anything else. When you enter a dream, it is as if all of that external processing is shut down. The connection is freed. Your consciousness is no longer a dial-up modem struggling to load a single image. It becomes a pure, fiber-optic connection plugged directly into the source of imagination, memory, and emotion. It can download entire worlds, epic stories, and complex emotional landscapes in a matter of seconds. Your dreams don't feel longer because time has been stretched. They feel longer because they are infinitely more dense with experience. They are a glimpse into the staggering, unfiltered processing power of consciousness itself when it is untethered from the physical world. This idea of malleable time is not just a strange feature of our inner, nocturnal world. It is a fundamental principle of the physical universe, a truth so profound that you use it every single day without even realizing it. The proof is not hidden in some arcane text or complex equation. It's in the smartphone you hold in your hand. The GPS system, the technology that guides our cars and allows us to pinpoint our location anywhere on Earth, could not function without acknowledging a truth discovered by Albert Einstein. Time is not absolute. It is a flexible, flowing reality that is relative to your circumstances. Consider the satellites orbiting high above us. They are the backbone of the GPS network. Their existence is governed by two key principles of relativity. First, they are moving incredibly fast, at nearly 14,000 kilometers per hour. Einstein's theory of special relativity proved that the faster you move, the slower time passes for you relative to a stationary observer. This effect causes the clocks on the satellites to tick just a little bit slower than ours. But there is a second, more powerful effect at play. The satellites are far away from the Earth's surface, where the pull of gravity is significantly weaker. Einstein's theory of general relativity proved that time moves faster in a weaker gravitational field. It is less constrained, less dense. When you combine these two opposing effects, the result is clear. The effect of weaker gravity is stronger than the effect of high speed. The atomic clocks on board the GPS satellites run consistently ahead of the clocks here on the ground. The difference is about 38 microseconds every single day. This may sound like an insignificant amount of time, a mere blip, but in a system that relies on timing signals with nanosecond precision, it is a catastrophic error. If engineers did not build a constant correction for this relativistic time dilation into the GPS system, its accuracy would crumble. The location on your map would drift by about 10 kilometers, or 6 miles, every single day. Within a week, the technology would be entirely useless. This is not a mystical theory or a philosophical debate. It is a principle of applied engineering. Every time you use a map on your phone, you are participating in a global, real-time experiment that confirms time is not a fixed, universal constant. It bends and shifts depending on speed and gravity. And this undeniable physical truth opens the door to a far more profound inquiry. If the great forces of the cosmos can stretch and compress the fabric of time, what other forces, perhaps more subtle and closer to home, could be shaping our experience of it? If the laws of the physical world open the door to a flexible reality, the laws of the quantum realm, the fundamental level of existence, remove the door from its hinges entirely. Here, at the very foundation of matter, we discover a principle so strange and so profound, it suggests that the universe itself waits for us to look at it before it decides what to be. At this subatomic scale, particles do not exist as tiny, solid objects. Before they are observed, they exist in a state of pure potential, a shimmering cloud of every possibility at once. This is what physicists call superposition. An electron is not in one specific place. It is a field of probability, a haze of potential locations. What then transforms this ghost-like cloud of potential into the single, definite, solid reality we experience? The act of observation. The moment we measure or look at a particle, its cloud of possibilities collapses into one concrete outcome. This led the brilliant physicist John Archibald Wheeler, a contemporary of Einstein, to propose what he called the participatory universe. He summarized it with a powerful phrase, it from bit. The physical world, the it, arises from the information, the bit, generated by the questions we ask of reality through the act of observing it. In this view, we are not passive bystanders watching a pre-existing universe. We are active participants in an ongoing act of creation. Perhaps the best way to understand this is through a modern metaphor, an unrendered level in a vast, open-world video game. The code for the entire world, every mountain, every tree, every river, exists within the game's programming. But to save processing power, the game only renders, only makes solid and visible the part of the world that the player is currently looking at. The landscape literally materializes in front of you as you turn your gaze. Our focused, waking consciousness acts in much the same way. When it is directed outward into the world, it is like the player's gaze, rendering the cloud of quantum possibilities into a stable, solid, and sequential reality. It collapses the infinite what-ifs into a single what is. It locks in the frames of our film strip. So this brings us to the ultimate question. What happens when we cease this act of outward observation? What happens when we close our eyes, as we do in sleep or deep meditation? We are, in effect, turning the camera away from the rendered world. And for the first time, we are given the chance to experience the universe not as a fixed and solid place, but as the field of infinite potential from which it arises. We stop looking at the game, and we begin to sense the code. So we arrive at a remarkable convergence. Our dreams give us the direct felt experience of a reality where time is dense and fluid. Modern physics gives us the intellectual permission to accept this experience, confirming that the universe's clock is not as rigid as it seems. And now, we find that ancient wisdom has always held the map to understanding what this truly means. The ancient Greeks had two distinct words for time, a subtle distinction that holds the key to our liberation. The first word is Chronos. This is the time we all know intimately. It is clock time, calendar time. It is quantitative, sequential, and relentless, the steady, marching rhythm of the film strip, one frame after another. Chronos is the domain of deadlines, of aging, of waiting for the future and regretting the past. It is the time that we feel is always running out. But they had a second word for time. That word is Kairos. Kairos is not about quantity, it is about quality. It signifies a moment of opportune, meaningful time. It is not measured in minutes or hours, but in depth and significance. A single moment of Kairos, a sudden creative insight, a profound connection with another person, a moment of stillness where you feel perfectly at peace can hold more life than a year of empty Chronos. Kairos is the unmeasurable moment when we are not just living through time, but are truly alive within it. And here lies the great revelation, the shift in perspective that changes everything. The source of our suffering, our feeling of being trapped in the endless race, is that we have mistaken ourselves for the character on the screen. We have identified completely with the figure moving from frame to frame, bound by the unyielding laws of the story's Chronos. But our true nature is not the character. It is the spectator in the cinema. Think of it. The spectator is fully engaged in the film. They feel the character's joy, their fear, their suspense. The story is real to them in that moment. But even in the most intense scene, a part of the spectator's awareness remains separate. They know they are in a theater. They know the beginning and the end of the film coexist on the same reel. They are experiencing the moment deeply, but from a place of wider, more peaceful awareness. They are in a state of Kairos. This is the meaning of the eternal now. It is not a mystical destination to be reached through struggle. It is a simple, profound shift in your identity. You are not the character trapped in the story. You are the spectator watching the story unfold. You are not the film. You are the light that illuminates it, the very space in which it plays. Your dreams are the nightly trailers for this realization. They are the recurring preview that reminds you of this profound truth. You are not just the actor on the screen, you are also the silent, timeless audience. And the moment you remember that, the tyranny of Chronos dissolves and you are free. This understanding is philosophically liberating, but there is a fair question that follows. How does knowing I am the spectator help me on a busy Tuesday afternoon when I am in a stressful meeting and the clock is ticking? The answer is that you do not need to wait for a dream or a deep meditation. You can learn to consciously build a bridge from Chronos to Kairos, even for just a moment. The practice is simple, and it requires nothing but your own attention. We will call it the anchor point. Here is how you do it. At any moment during your day, particularly when you feel rushed, overwhelmed, or lost in thought, deliberately pause. Next, choose a single specific anchor point from your immediate sensory experience. It does not matter what it is, only that it is happening right now. It could be the feeling of warmth from a cup of coffee in your hands. It could be the geometric pattern of light falling on the wall across from you. It could be the distant ambient sound of traffic outside your window. Finally, for just 15 seconds, dedicate 100% of your attention to that single anchor point. Observe it without judgment, not as good or bad, but with the detached curiosity of a scientist discovering a new phenomenon. Notice its texture, its color, its tone. Let it fill the entire space of your awareness. This simple act is a form of perceptual reboot. By deliberately focusing your attention with such intensity on a present moment sensation, you are commanding your brain to stop its frantic process of rendering the story of your past and future. Instead, you are forcing it to render the here and now in the highest possible definition. For that brief instant, you are doing something radical. You are stepping out of the spectator's seat in the cinema and touching the screen itself. You are feeling the raw data of reality before it has been fully woven into the narrative of time. You are not stopping the clock on the wall. You are stepping outside of it. You are deliberately creating a small, solid island of Kairos, a moment of profound, qualitative presence in the vast, rushing ocean of Chronos. And by doing this, you remind yourself where you truly live. So we find ourselves at the end of our journey, having discovered a simple yet world-altering truth. You are not running against time. You are the space in which time happens. Your dreams are the proof. Physics is the confirmation. And your own attention is the key. This truth has been echoed by sages and mystics throughout history. The great poet Rumi expressed it perfectly. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. That field is not a distant place you must travel to. It is the silent space between your thoughts. It is the stillness underneath the noise of the world. It is the timeless present moment, always available, always waiting. So I leave you with a question to carry into your life. How many times today can you visit that field, even if only for a single breath? If this journey has resonated with you, join us at Mystic Sages by subscribing as we continue to explore the vast territory of consciousness. And we would be honored to hear from your own experience. Please share in the comments below. Describe a moment of Kairos you have lived, a brief instant where the clock seemed to vanish and you felt completely and utterly present. Let us create a living archive of these timeless moments together.